we're getting into something a little bit interesting here, as the Anaheim Ducks have decided to send both Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale back to the American Hockey League. And now the question arises that they cannot go, well, specifically Jamie Drysdale cannot go to the OHL, as the Erie Otters of the OHL are not playing right now. So makes it difficult because now they have to wait till the AHL season starts, which they'll be playing with the San Diego Gulls, and they do not start till the beginning of February or mid-February. So they're going to have to wait a little while. Definitely a tough pill to swallow. They didn't make the taxi roster squad, so obviously there's belief in the organization there in Anaheim that neither of these guys is ready, and Bob Murray has decided to send them to the American Hockey League. Same story goes down the road in LA, as the Los Angeles Kings have sent down second overall pick Quinton Byfield and Arthur Kaliev. They've sent them to the Ontario Reign of the American Hockey League, the AHL affiliate of the Los Angeles Kings. Both teams, again, these are young guys that just, you were thinking were going to make the roster. And the thing about Quinton Byfield is he's like 6'6", 210 pounds or something like that. But the problem is he was 17, he just turned 18 when the draft took place. So he's one of the youngest players in the draft class. He still has a lot of other things to work on besides his size. He has the NHL size, but there's other things he still has to work on. Arthur Kaliev absolutely has some things he has to work on. He has an unbelievably good shot, but other than that, there are some factors about him. Despite what he did in the World Juniors, he put up a fight in training camp, but at the end of the day, it was best that these guys go to the AHL. But I have to admit, I'm pretty surprised that Quinton Byfield went to the AHL. Now the Nashville Predators. The Predators are interesting because these guys are not young. Or, I mean, they're young, but you can make an argument they should be making the Predators roster, especially with what they have. Eeli Tolvanen and Phil Tomasino, both former first-round picks of the Nashville Predators, both sent to the AHL's Chicago Wolves. So they're sharing a partnership in the AHL with the Carolina Hurricanes. Chicago Wolves they're going to be pretty solid this season. They're going to have the likes of Tomasino, Tolvanen, as well as a guy like Jake Bean, who likely isn't making the roster out of camp for the Carolina Hurricanes. So that's going to be a pretty stacked team there in the Chicago Wolves. But other than that, it's really frustrating because you look at, a guy like Tolvanen, really highly sought after, almost a second-round pick. He seemed like he was going to be a diamond in the rough, a gem at the end of the round, kind of like Alex DeBrincat a couple years before Tolvanen. It just has not turned out for him. He had one good season with Nashville, and even that wasn't good enough to keep him on the roster next season. So we'll see what happens here with the Predators, Eeli Tolvanen and Tomasino. But the questions are starting to arise on those guys. We'll see what happens. I mean, you look at the roster, specifically for Nashville. Nashville. You look at their forward group. You have Victor Arvidsson, Philip Forsberg, Ryan Johansson, Matt Duchene, Rocco Grimaldi, Calle Yarncroke, Colton Sissons, Luke Cunnin, Nick Cousins, Eric Howla, Brad Richardson, and Yakov Trenin. Are you really telling me that Nick Cousins, Brad Richardson, Yakov Trenin are better than Tolvanen and Phil Tomasino? I don't know. So obviously John Hines is up to something there, or maybe he just feels they aren't ready for the NHL. So we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, tough news there. And like we've been saying, I mean, with the Ducks situation, in the end, really based off an article, the decision came down to long-term growth versus short-term gain. And that's really what it comes down to for all of these young guys. Are you willing to, you get more quote-unquote skill right off the bat, but their raw talent isn't, it's not enough. They need to be coached a little bit. They need to work. A lot of guys have to work on their defensive game because think about it, most of these guys have been dominating at their level, and they're just bringing the puck up, going back, taking the puck up. Like, they're not playing that much defense, a lot of these guys. So part of the game. They have to work on that. You have to become a two-way player, especially in today's NHL. There's too many guys, like I just mentioned, like a Mark Stone, where he scores goals, he's got a great hockey IQ, and he's able to strip the puck on a back check. And you need to be able to have all facets of the game. You have to be good in all areas, because nowadays in the NHL, just skill won't get you in. Look at my buddy Josh Osang. You could ask him about that. So, just a perfect example of that.